Now South Africans are outraged at yet another suspected femicide case. 24-year-old Thabani Mzolo has appeared briefly in the Durban Magistrate's court. He is accused of killing his girlfriend, Zolile Khumalo, a former student at the Mangosuthu University of Technology. Let's bring you up to speed on this story now. My colleague Dasen Thathiah has been looking at this court case. And Dasen, hello to you. Just explain to us what we found out in court today around the circumstances of this killing.
Well, Gareth, it was a standard issue first appearance for Mzolo today. So the court case itself wasn't anything unusual, anything spectacular. In fact, there were no details that came out other than the charges. And we know that he's charged with murder as well as having an unlicensed gun and unlicensed ammunition as well. But what was interesting about the case, Gareth, is his demeanor. In fact, when Mzolo walked out into the dock, he was oozing confidence. And he walked, in fact, he had initially missed the dock and walked past, almost heading towards, the front area of the court as well. But he was led back into the dock, and he even flashed a smile at all of the journalists and photographers that were taking his picture. He tried to leave before the magistrate was even finished speaking to him, and he was told to wait. He was dressed very casually, dressed in a hoodie and jeans. But I think the gesture that caused the most outrage was a picture that was captured by a fellow journalist, because as he was leaving and he was being led back into the holding cells, he flashed a little gesture which looked something like him raising his hands and clicking two triggers, almost in a gesture showing that he was firing two guns. And when that video got into Twitter and the students that had gathered outside saw that, there was absolute outrage, and people were then saying that this is a gentleman that shows no remorse. In fact, outside court, there were hundreds of students that had come through. They had marched along with some officials from the university, the Mangosuthu University of Technology, that had marched to the magistrate's court to demand no bail. But obviously this wasn't a bail hearing. But nevertheless, they were very angry, and they were also concerned about the safety of students, because we know that Khumalo was in a university residence when her killer entered the premises and shot her dead.
We're just looking at the visuals of Mzolo entering the court, then sitting down with his head down, hoodie over his head, which is odd compared to what you're saying. He walks in with some would say a bit of bravado. It is an unusual case, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dasen, there's an allegation that he confessed to this killing on Facebook. Is that correct?
That's right. In fact, there were screenshots that were doing the rounds after her murder, and in it was almost a post of regret, saying that he would never get the opportunity to tell Khumalo that he forgave her for what we're not clear about at this point. But if you sift through the comments, there were many people asking questions, and to that he then allegedly responded, or at least someone on his account responded, saying that he had killed Zozo, which was a reference then to Khumalo. But there are many pictures and other screenshots that are coming out after this murder. Another one is a conversation that Khumalo was allegedly having with a friend of hers, where she was talking about the fact that she had broken up with her boyfriend, and the friend that she was talking to then said, but she needs to be careful because her life could then be at risk. So all of these other allegations coming out. Also, very recently, a picture which looks like both Khumalo and Mzolo posing with some guns doing the rounds. But again, these are things that will form part of the investigation, because police are still looking into this. In fact, that's why the case was postponed today, before Mzolo comes back to court on the 10th of May. So police will be investigating during that time until he reappears in court.